find a lover, I can find a friend, I can have security until the bitter end. Anyone can comfort me with promises again. I know. When I'm deep inside of me, don't be too consumed. I won't ask for nothing while I'm gone. When I want sincerity, tell me where else can I turn? 'Cause you're the one that I depend upon. Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. Honesty is hardly ever heard, but mostly what I need from you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lilias Coper, and it's my honor to be your service reader for this first Sunday service in 2025. My reason for being a Unitarian is that I really appreciate our shared values and the people who make up our community, who all work hard to make this a vital community. And also the continual search for deep meaning in our lives that we do together. It was religious educators who began the practice of lighting the chalice at the start of Sunday school classes and worship for children. Over time, this beautiful tradition has spread to Sunday services and other meaningful gatherings across the globe. So today we join the countless other congregations around the world who have and will light their chalice this Sunday morning. We do so with these words. A person holds a chalice, its flame dancing in the still air. Our community extends beyond walls, beyond fears, beyond the ordinary. We are not defined by the limits of what divides us or the expectations of what connection should be. We are free to create something new, to heal, to dream together, to transform. Here we cultivate relationships that nurture and sustain, that challenge and inspire. Here we act with intention, drawing strength from the deep wells of diverse traditions and the guiding light of Unitarian Universalist principles. We are here, a sanctuary of hope, a circle of courage, a community of love. I see you, I hear you, and I cherish you. And as Reverend Samaya lights our chalice, may its flame remind us of our shared purpose, our collective power, and the profound possibility of what we can create together, here, now, and always.
I invite you to rise and body your spirit as we sing together our opening song, hymn number 1024, When the Spirit Says Do. You got to do and the Spirit says do. You got to do and the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you gotta do and the Spirit says do. 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 Spirit says to sing when the Spirit says sing. Got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing. Lord, you got to sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. When the Spirit says laugh, you got to laugh. Lord, you gotta laugh when the Spirit says laugh. 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 You got to love when the Spirit says love. Got to love when the Spirit says love. When the Spirit says love, you got to love. Oh Lord, you got to love when the Spirit says love. 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 Spirit says love.
Feeling the love out here. Oh yeah. I'm Sheila Master, Director of Religious Education. And I'm so excited to be here this morning. Now my mic just turned on, so I'm Sheila, Director of Religious Education. And why community? And what is community? And so I started thinking about it, and I thought it starts with circles. Yourself, and then our family, and our close friends, and then our neighbors, and our community in Calgary, and then Alberta, and Canada, and then the whole world. And so each circle is just a little bit larger than the last. And so I have a story, of course, for all of you, that explores these circles all around us, by Brad Montague. So we begin by drawing a circle on the ground along each shoe. A safe little place just for one person. And there's nobody in this circle but you. You could keep that circle closed to everyone around yourself. But that would be like a library with just one book on the shelf. And wouldn't it be better? It becomes a happier circle as more loved ones come to stay. And wouldn't it be better if all your friends could come and play? So you stretch and draw your circle even bigger than it's been, and let a few more people know that they're welcome to come in. And in the circles all around us, everywhere that we go, there's a difference that we can make and a love that we can show. Yet, there's still so many outside the circle who are different in all that they do, though it still feels slightly uncomfortable. We draw a bigger circle for them too. And it doesn't mean that the circle is easy. It can get harder the more that we share. But a wonderful thing can happen when love is known and felt everywhere. And as time passes, our eyes open and we see others we really care for. And that's when we ask ourselves, well, what's this circle really there for? And so let us create bigger circles all around us for the rest of our days, and let our caring ripple out in a million different ways. And in circles all around us, everywhere that we go, there's a difference we can make and a love that we can all show. As our circles grow and grow and grow, we watch them wonder-eyed. And remember, the first circle started with just the love that you hold inside. The end. And as we think of the circles, it's important to see each circle as a foundation that we start with ourselves, and then as we feel strong and balanced, we can extend that circle and share our caring and make a difference in the world. And when we feel a bit unsteady, it's okay to go back to your first circle and give yourself a hug and the time that you need, and then slowly come back and expand out to the world when you feel strong. It's just like that airplane theory, you know, get your oxygen mask down and put it on yourself first before you can help anyone else. And so this week's challenge is to be aware of all the circles around you and how, like a flower opening and closing, it's natural to have moments of self-care and moments when we can fully open to the sun and shine on the world. There's a quote by Jean Varnier that expresses my hope for our Calgary Unitarian community. And it says, "One of the marvelous things about community is that it enables us to welcome and help people in a way that we couldn't as individuals. When we all pool our strength together and share the work and responsibility, we can welcome many people, even those in deep distress, and perhaps help them find self-confidence and inner healing." And so now please join me as we bring the flame of our light downstairs with the children.
Just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing. Just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are.
Our Unitarian principles encourage and challenge us to spend a lifetime searching for truth and meaning. While this is a deeply personal journey, it is also profoundly relational, calling us to connect with others in generosity, compassion, and care. Through these acts, we create a sanctuary of connection and purpose, nurturing both ourselves and the world around us. As we take this morning's offering, we are invited to practice this generosity of spirit together. Your contributions sustain the many ministries of this self-supporting church, helping us evolve into a sanctuary of connection, healing, and shared purpose, a community that transforms lives and amplifies its impact on the world. This month, we extend our commitment to generosity by supporting Brown Bagging for Calgary Kids as our For Others recipient. This organization brings together parents, volunteers, school staff, and donors, and their own team to ensure no child in Calgary goes without lunch. With rising food costs and 20% of Calgarians struggling to afford groceries, this work is more urgent than ever. For just $4, Brown Bagging for Calgary's Kids can provide and deliver a nutritious lunch to a child in need, offering not just food, but hope and care to families across our city. If you would like to direct your offering to this program, please write For Others in the memo line of your envelope or e-transfer. To our first-time visitors, your presence here is a gift to us all. Please feel free to let the basket offering pass you by. After the basket has passed, you are welcome to come forward to light a candle at one of our sconces or drop a pebble in our communal water in recognition of a joy or a sorrow you hold in your heart. The gifts of this congregation, shared in love and generosity, will be deeply and gratefully received.
Spirit, breathing out together and in love responding. We are welcome, gathering together in community, breathing in the silence of a peaceful spirit, breathing out together and in love responding. We are welcome here. Gathering together in community, breathing in the silence of a peaceful spirit, breathing out together and in love responding. We are welcome here.
Oh, my dear ones, you are so loved. The room fills with your love. I just want you to know that. As a beloved community, we are woven into an interdependent web of existence. What touches one of us ripples out through us all. By sharing our joys and our sorrows and our milestones, we deepen our connections, we care for one another, and we reach beyond ourselves to nurture hope in the wider world. Each week, we honor the full range of human experience. Today, we celebrate those moments of joy, those sparks of light, whether it be spending time with loved ones in that thinness of time that happens over the holidays, enjoying our grandchildren, our children, watching those moments of awe and wonder, the laughter and the wonder found in everyday life. For those of you whose hearts are filled with that life today, this candle shines for you. We also hold space for those moments of sorrow that touch our lives, among those who are navigating losses of ability, of connection, of cherished dreams, those who are bearing the weight of illness, mental health struggles, or addiction. And today, let us wrap Carol Yankee in our love as she mourns the loss of her uncle, a very important person in her life. He died on New Year's Eve. For all who carry burdens, seen and unseen, this candle shines for you. And I'm also poignantly aware that 5 years ago, the World Health Organization became aware of what would become one of the most devastating pandemics in over a century. As we reflect on this milestone, let us honor the lives that have been forever changed and lost. We hold those who are still suffering from COVID-19 and long COVID in our hearts. And let us express our deep gratitude to the healthcare workers who sacrifice so much. And through that, let us commit to building a healthier, more compassionate future. For the lessons learned and the resilience gained, this candle shines for us all. May the light of these candles remind us of the sacred connections we share within, among, and beyond this community. May all that we hold today strengthen and renew the bonds that we have, inspiring us to act for love and courage in the world. And let us now settle into our quiet time. After some contemplative words, we'll move into 2 minutes of silence and come out of that silence by singing our hymn number 1009, Meditation on Breathing. When that song plays, you'll see the lyrics. If you need to gently be brought back into this community, feel free just to allow the music and the song to bring you back. And if you would like to sing along with Christian, feel free to. I think he would enjoy it, yes? So now, let's take a breath together. Close your eyes if you are comfortable. Settle into your seat. Feel the ground beneath you, strong and steady. Breathe in, filling your lungs with air and letting it out slowly. And as you continue to breathe, imagine your breath extending downward, like roots reaching into the earth. With each inhale, grow deeper. Connect your roots to the roots around you. The roots I have are reaching out to Courtney, way in the back. Courtney, can you feel my roots touching yours? And Courtney's and my roots, they reach out and they touch Laura's. Together, we become one body, one community that is grounded. And as you breathe in, draw strength from this shared energy. Know that you are held by something greater than yourself. With each breath, feel that connection deepening. Together, we form a strong and resilient network grounded in our shared humanity. Let's rest in this image of interconnection, of belonging, of rootedness. Breathing in and breathing out, knowing we are never alone. Give it a half a second. Okay, good. This time of year is an anniversary of sorts for me because it was 28 years ago that I first walked into a Unitarian Universalist congregation seeking community. It was my first holiday season after my marriage ended, miserably, I might add, and it was the worst holiday season of my life. I longed for connection, knowing that I needed the support as a single mother, estranged from my family, and having lost my community. Two friends from two different social circles said, you should really check out Unitarian Church. I think you might find a home there. So on that Sunday, the Sunday between Christmas and New Year's, I walked in. Not only did I see one of my friends as one of the greeters, the service that night was on the dark night of the soul. And how important it was to embrace that time. Not to sweep it under the rug and pretend it didn't exist. And in that moment, I knew that I had found a place to belong. Now, over the years, I've learned much about building and sustaining Unitarian Universalist congregations. Engaging in this work means being a lifelong learner. And I've discovered that nothing about community is easy. It requires a great deal of introspection and self-awareness. One thing I know for certain is that each one of us comes into this community bringing our whole selves, our gifts, our talents, our joy, our laughter, our wounds, our rough edges, and along with a deep need to belong. I entered community broken and wounded, yearning for a space where people not only saw me, but appreciated me in my brokenness. Being part of a Unitarian Universalist committee helped me to reframe my story in the world. Through various programs, I began to exercise my freedom to choose what to notice and value, recognizing that I had control over my responses. And this was not work I could do alone. I needed a community with me. I needed a community to reflect back to me what I needed to learn as I knitted myself back into wholeness. I'm still working on that, by the way. I've looked back with gratitude for finding such a supportive community. Here, we value our interconnectedness, and we see it as a precious gift. And I have found that as we embark on the journey of understanding why community matters, we begin to develop what is called a capacity for connectedness. This capacity allows us to resist the forces that pull us apart from each other and ourselves. And these are things like self-centeredness, jealousy, unhealthy patterns, competition, the drive for power. Those are just to name a few, and I'm sure you could probably name some as well. These are the forces that are deeply rooted in our culture, intertwining personal and political harm. Causing personal and political harm and ways in which we challenge our very own humanity. The journey of the heart often leads us to confront our failures, our sufferings, and our losses. And in those tender moments, we need to learn to hold ourselves with compassion and care. When we struggle to do that, it is the community that comes in with a circle of support, holding us until we can. Beginning with the self means practicing holding ourselves with loving kindness in every moment. James Baldwin has been quoted as saying, "The longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light. Gentle work, steadfast work, life-saving work in those moments when life and shame and sorrow occlude our own light from our view. But there is still the clear-eyed, loving community to beam it back to us. in our best moments, we are that for each other. Community nurtures this process, reminding us that we are not alone in our struggles and our triumphs. It fosters an environment where we can reflect on our experiences, learn from each other, and grow together. My journey in the various Unitarian Universalist communities I belong to highlighted the profound value of connection, of support, and growth. As we journey on in this year together, we hold space for one another, nurturing the love and the compassion that bind us. Each interaction enriches our collective experience, reminding us of the strength that we draw from community. Together, we navigate life's challenges and celebrate our joys, continually reflecting on how our own interconnectedness shapes our lives. Let us practice holding ourselves with loving kindness.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole.
As I mentioned, introspection and self-awareness are essential for existing in community. After all, wherever you go in community, there are, well, dare I say it, people. This leads us to the among part of why community matters. I laughed when I encountered Parker Palmer's definition of community because it reminded me of a dear friend that I knew once. Our time together would be spent with her constantly complaining about that one person in her workplace. It went on ad nauseum every time we met. And then that person left and somebody else came. And it was somebody else that she constantly complained. And this was a pattern that I noticed. So when I read Parker Palmer's definition of community, I seriously, lost it. This is what he says. Community is that place where the person you least want to live with always lives. And when that person moves away, someone else takes their place. This perfectly captures the challenge of relationships. Being in close proximity to those who are different from us can force us to confront what we dislike in others and ultimately ourselves. Remember what James Baldwin said, we become mirrors for each other. The people around us reflect aspects of ourselves that we aspire and appreciate, and so we hang out with those people more, right? And then there are those that actually reflect back to us those parts of ourselves we really would not want to face. Those are the people we spend less time with. So we do that for each other. And let's be honest, we simultaneously show people the best and the worst of ourselves, highlighting this capacity for connectedness, our ability to examine how someone impacts us. As the comic strip Pobogo puts it, we have met the enemy, and it is us. In the Our Whole Lives program for grades 7 through 9, and that is our values-based comprehensive sexuality program, we discuss how new relationships often seem shiny and perfect at the beginning. You know that beginning part of a relationship when you are romantically falling in love with someone. And over time, that shine seems to fade, revealing reality through arguments or the familiarity of time. You begin to see the person for who they are, and that shiny, glittery stuff, it's gone away, it's disappeared. And I would suspect that after a year and a half with you, there are aspects of me and my ministry that resonate with you, and others don't. I embody both the minister that you yearned for and longed for, and also the one you didn't want. In congregations, this dynamic appears when people seek a community based on perfect harmony and intimacy with everyone. Let me tell you, this is impossible. Instead, I invite you to broaden the vision and build on this capacity for connectedness. Conflict will arise, and we are prepared with good processes to address it. Our invitation is to reframe the story and view conflict as a natural part of community life. It is when in youth culture, we used to say that when rules and fractions in a conference affairs committee would happen, that was not a negative thing. It was actually the community paying attention to itself. And that's what conflict does. It's our ability and our willingness to pay attention to ourselves. So instead of striving for harmony, we should aim for relationships that extend beyond that personal comfort. We should embrace mutual accountability and shared purpose. And when we view challenges as opportunities rather than setbacks, we cultivate resilience. We cultivate inner strength. Leaning into the discomfort of our feelings leads us to greater understanding and clarity about who we are as individuals and as a congregation. By welcoming the gifts of the community, we allow each one of us to grow into the fullness of who we are. This work is only possible in a community that consistently chooses love over fear. The challenges of community, conflict, betrayal, and reconciliation need not signify failure, but instead can serve as gateways to more life, more vitality, and more passion. On July 27th in 2008, a gunman opened fire during a children's performance at the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church in Knoxville. The gunman killed 2, wounded several, and despite the chaos, congregants responded bravely, subduing the shooters while others protected the children. A witness described the response as remarkably calm and loving, reflecting the resilience and compassion of that community in the face of tragedy. After the shooting, the congregation faced a very pivotal choice. Rather than closing the pivotal doors, the figurative doors, and blocking new people from coming in, they opened their doors. And they chose to open them wider, courageously responding to fear. These acts exemplify the purpose of community, to develop the capacity to transform fear into strength and isolation into collective healing. Today's culture fosters disconnection driven by fear and competition. Uncertainty in our lives pushes us towards isolation. It's community that offers the antidote. Together, we can confront the pervasive culture of fear with understanding and shared strength. Unitarian Universalism calls us to this vision of a beloved community, a place where we honor our individual searches for meaning while building relationships that sustain us all. Holding the concept of among within our hearts, let us practice holding each other with as much loving kindness as we can in this moment.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole.
It's important to remember that as mirrors for others in our communities, we are not separate from the quote-unquote unwanted people. We actually are them. This humility invites a hopeful perspective. Beloved community requires us to believe that not only are others worth our effort, but we are worth theirs. This message was a crucial one for me as a single mother entering that Unitarian Universalist community 28 years ago. Often we resist community not because others might let us down, but because we fear rejection when we let others down. As a minister, it saddens me to hear that some have experienced me in that way. That is just given. And I want you to know it's simply not the kind of minister I wish to be. Beloved community thrives on trust and invites us to believe we can count on one another, even in our imperfections. As a spiritual community, we differ from others in how we organize ourselves. Bureaucracies rely on hierarchies and rules imposed from above, while shared ministry, which is what I am hoping to build here, is grounded in authenticity and mutual trust. We all share the responsibility to create this beloved community that fosters and protects spaces for human resourcefulness to emerge. This work is extremely challenging, and we all carry internalized doubts about our abilities that are reinforced by institutions that value compliance over creativity. Creating spaces where we can heal these invisible wounds allows each person to discover their strength in the middle of this resistance, and that is no small task. These invisible wounds can often be generational, impacting our behaviors in ways that we may not fully understand. They stem from our families, our congregations, or society as a whole. I'm going to give you a simple example of this. There's this study done once. There's always studies. And it involved monkeys locked in a room with a pole in the center, and at the top of that pole was a bunch of ripe bananas. Whenever a monkey tried to climb that pole, the experimenters would take a fire hose and spray all of the monkeys, and particularly the one that was climbing the pole, to bring it down. Eventually, the monkeys got tired of this, and any time a monkey tried to climb the pole, they would pull it down without being fire hosed. The experimenters thought, well, let's see what happens. And they took one monkey out and put another monkey in that had never been sprayed with the fire hose. And it looked at the top and it went, oh, nice bunch of bananas. Why isn't anybody going up there? Tried to climb the pole, and the rest of the monkeys pulled it down. Eventually, that monkey learned that it shouldn't climb the pole. Eventually, the experimenters got to a point where none of the monkeys in that locked room had ever been sprayed with the fire hose, but not a single one would climb up the pole. Let me tell you how that plays out in congregational life. That congregation that I walked into 28 years ago, it had this culture of high excellence. I don't know how I knew it. I just knew it. There wasn't anything in their writing, in their promotional material, nothing that anybody said to me that said, you know what, we have a culture of high excellence here. But I knew that. I became their youth advisor. I became their OWL trainer. I fell into that idea of high excellence, and it served me well. It's what allowed me to become a continental trainer in so many of our programs for religious educators, sexuality educators, youth advisors, you name it. I've done training of trainings for almost anything, particularly in reconciliation here in Canada. And now, as I begin to examine my own personal way of operating under an eighth principle lens, which is to dismantle systems of oppression in ourselves and our institutions, I can see how that culture of perfectionism is so much intertwined with who I am. This is why that eighth principle is so important and vital. When we include ourselves in that definition of the unwanted in our congregations, it becomes easier to create spaces where people from diverse backgrounds, racial, ethnic, educational, class, gender, abilities, sexual orientation, theologies, can come together in an interdependent relationship of love, mutual respect, and care that seeks justice within the community and the broader world. Communities that embrace paradox thrive. True connection balances individual freedom with mutual responsibility. One Unitarian Universalist remarked, "You can have any theology you want. If you want to develop and build a theology around the worship of a holy paperclip, it makes no difference to me. But if you start poking me with your paperclip, now we have a problem." Communities that flourish center themselves around a shared purpose rather than strict rules or uniformity. Belonging is defined by a common vision, not shared beliefs or behaviors. This focus on purpose allows us to retain our uniqueness while contributing to a greater collective whole, transforming that tension from belonging and individuality into a source of energy and resilience that extends beyond our communities. I'll be honest with you, being in community at times has often broken my heart. And I'm learning ever so slowly to open my broken heart to allow a larger, more generous form. This is why taking a spark of our chalice light at the end of our service and placing it on our hearts is so important. It's for those moments when our hearts break that this light falls in, reminding us of our inner light. In this place, we hold both hope and resistance, trusting that abundant creativity and resourcefulness reside within us. In this way, beloved community offers a model for transforming fear into trust and isolation into collective healing, showing us how to live more fully together. Holding the concept of beyond in our hearts, let us practice holding the world with as much loving kindness as we can in this moment.
May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be
Community begins with the journey within, where self-awareness and introspection help us to confront our wounds, our gifts, and our longing for connection. Belonging to a Unitarian Universalist community, we reframe our personal stories, rediscover choice in our responses, and find compassion in moments of failure and loss. The among aspect of community challenges us to navigate relationships with those who reflect both the best and the most difficult parts of ourselves, using conflict as an opportunity for growth and deeper connection. Moving beyond communities, expand their vision to address justice and inclusion, breaking cycles of fear and exclusion to embody interdependence and love. Beloved community transforms fear into trust and isolation into collective healing, and offers a model for living more fully together. As we prepare to sing Draw the Circle Wide, let us hold this vision of ever widening circles of connection and care, inviting us all to join in creating a world where no one is alone.
Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. God, the still point of the circle, around whom all creation turns. Nothing lost but held forever in God's gracious arms. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Let our hearts touch far horizons, so encompass great and small. Let our loving know no borders, faithful to God's call. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let it be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Let the dreams we dream be larger than we've ever dreamed before. Let the dream of Christ be in us, open every door. The circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide.
As we close our time together, may we carry forward the lessons of community, the courage to look within, the grace to grow among one another, and the boldness to reach beyond. May we draw the circle wide, welcoming all into the embrace of love and justice. And may we go forth knowing that together we have the power to transform fear into trust, isolation into belonging, and brokenness into wholeness. Go in peace, go in love, and go together. Amen. Namaste. Blessed be.
As we extinguish the flame of our chalice, let us remember that though the flame fades from sight, its warmth lingers in our hearts as a call to nurture connection, foster healing, and live with shared purpose. May we leave this space inspired to act with compassion, to embrace courage, and to embody hope, bringing the spirit of this community into the world beyond these walls. So now, as we extinguish this flame, let us take a spark of it and place it gently on our hearts so that we carry its light with us as a reminder of the sanctuary we create together. Here now and always may the light of our shared journey guide us forward. Please join us next week for our Sunday service at 10:30, where Lynn Nugent and Marcia Epstein, members of our worship arts team, will explore some ideas of what it means to be in community. For those of you who are here in person, please join us for coffee, tea, and snacks right after this service in Wickenden. For those of you who are attending the service online, please leave this meeting after the service and join with others who are also attending online for conversation. The Zoom link is being placed in the chat by our AV folks. For those of us attending in person, our fabulously newly formed hospitality team will have coffee, tea, and snacks available right after the postlude plays. But now if we can all turn and wave to say hello to everyone on Zoom.
Hi, Zoom. Lovely to see you again.